Again, I'd like to thank you for your kind invitation, and I want to salute the ponentes on the mesa. As you know, Your Excellencies, that we are passing a very critical moment right now, where Palestine is under full bombarding from the Israeli occupation, which is going on for a long time. We are living under the last occupation in the recent history, where we don't have any kind of rights under the Israeli occupation, unfortunately. Palestine, as you know, it is a very strategic place, joint Asia with Africa, with Europe, and it is the Holy Land. It is the Holy Land where the three main religions is there. Moses received his message outside Palestine, and he couldn't come to Palestine, but his people, they were able to go to Palestine. And Jesus, he born in Palestine, and he carried his message from Palestine to the humanity. And also Islam came to Palestine, and the message were received in Mecca in Saudi Arabia. But the message were received in Palestine and born in Palestine, it was Christianity. Anyhow, my dear friends, we are looking for peace. I will not talk about history. We are looking for peace since 1991. Here in Madrid, we have the International Peace Conference, and we are looking for peace. Unfortunately, instead of having peace, since that time, we have a lot of settlements in the occupied territories, violating our rights. According to the 4th Geneva Convention, it is a war crime to transfer the citizens of the occupied power to the occupied territory. And since we began talking to the Israelis in 1991 till now, settlers are 5 times more than before. This reflects that the Israelis are not willing to make peace with Palestine, because we, in 1993, we recognized Israel on 78% of historic Palestine. And we are still, till now, waiting them to recognize us on the rest, which is 22%. Instead of recognizing us, they are building more than 200 settlements in a very small area, which is 6,000 square kilometers. Imagine, like Grande Madrid. This means that there is no space anymore for a state of Palestine. So we, the Palestinians, we have a peace initiative. We have the first peace initiative. It was in 1968 to have a democratic state in historic Palestine, where all Israelis and all Palestinians can live in one state equally in a democratic state. Unfortunately, it was rejected by the Israelis in that time. Then the international community accept two-state solution, and we accept. Until now, nothing happened except more confiscation of land, more settlements, and more killing and more uprooting for our trees. Especially, we have olive trees, which is our national tree. The olive tree is our national tree, and we have the tree that Jesus Christ had the Last Supper under that tree. Till now, it is there in Palestine. So it seems to be that the Israelis, it's their enemy, the olive trees in Palestine. So they uprooted our trees and they transfer it, we don't know where. And also they build a wall in the heart of the Palestinian territory, violating our rights and putting this wall, which was rejected by the International Court of Justice, because this is illegal, built on the occupied territories, not between us and on the borders between us and Israel. And also this wall separated the kids from their schools, the sick people from their hospital, and the farmers from their land, which means that it makes the life of the Palestinians so difficult. When we begin the talks, the Israelis, they divided Palestine, which is 22% of historic Palestine, to three categories, A, B, and C. A, it's under Palestinian administrative control, and B, it's under our administrative control, but under Israeli security control, and C, it's under full control of the Israelis. C is 62% of the West Bank and Gaza Strip. We are prohibited to build one single room in the 62% of the West Bank. And also in the B, which is around 20, we need a permission from the Israelis, and we never got it. And we are allowed to build in Area A, which is 22%. And we don't have economy in Palestine because the Israelis, they are controlling all intradas, all borders. They are controlling the airspace, they are controlling the seaside, they are controlling the borders on the land. So it's difficult for us to build an economy under the Israeli occupation because the Israelis seems to be that they want to keep our economy depending on their economy. So if any Palestinian want to import, for example, any things from Spain, if he imported as a Palestinian, it will remain in the seaport for 3 months. And if he have a deal with another people to give him some from these goods, he will pay a penalty because he cannot give them on time. But if we did it through an Israeli, we got it through 1 week. Because the Israelis, they want to keep us depending on their economy. This is first. Second, when we talk about the human rights, my dear friends, human rights means that people and even persons, they have rights according to the Constitution of the United Nations. Since the Israeli occupation, we don't have rights. We don't have rights. For example, the Israelis, they have the right to confiscate our land for many reasons, for military reasons and for settlements and for public use, and they have the right to confiscate our land. Also, our movement inside Palestine, it is not free. As you hear, if anyone wants to travel from Madrid to Valencia, for example, he took his car, or he took the train, or he took the plane. For us, we need a plan to go from any city to another city because we have more than 500 military checkpoints in Palestine, in a small area. And it makes the life of the Palestinians as a hell. It humiliated the Palestinians. One Israeli soldier coming within 2 months to Palestine, he can stop a convoy of cars for 200 cars because it seems to be that he's not in the mood to allow them to pass. And when he wants to allow them, he uses his leg for them to it's a humiliation, and no one can accept this kind of treatment for a human beings whom they are the most educated people in our region and whom they have the highest level of education in the world. So we deserve, we need, and we deserve to be free, and we want to be free. Second, in the occupied territories, there is a highways, carreteras, for the Israelis, not in Israel. It is in Palestine for the Israelis, and there is another one for the Palestinians. We look for a description for this in the dictionary. We couldn't find any description except that this is an apartheid. This is an apartheid regime, more tough and more difficult than the one was in South Africa before. And I want to tell you that the apartheid regime in South Africa couldn't collapse without the struggle of the brave people of South Africa and without the strong support that they received from the international community. The same apartheid, Israeli apartheid in Palestine will never collapse except if we receive your support and the support of the international community. No one sent the troops to fight the apartheid regime in South Africa. No one. But South Africa, under the apartheid regime, were isolated and were boycotted by the international community. Even a football team were not able to come to Madrid in that time because it was boycotted and isolated. We hope that we will receive the same treatment to put an end for the last occupation in the recent history, for the last colonization. God, bring us to life to be free, and no one is allowed to take our freedom. Our freedom is something, holy thing for human beings. Sagrado para nosotros. My dear friends, there is a laws in Israel for the Israelis, in Palestine for the Israelis, and there is a laws for the Palestinians. Can you imagine? For example, I want to give you an example that 3 Israeli settlers, they were disappeared in the West Bank in an area under full control of the Israelis. We don't have any kind of power there. And they disappear. And no one claimed responsibility of this. So the Israelis, they invade all of Palestine, and they kill a lot, and they destroy a lot. And then a young Palestinian guy with 16 years old was kidnapped and was killed, burned while he was alive. Never happened. Burned while he was alive, and killed. Then the Israelis, because there were a camera, so then the Israelis, under the pressure from the international community, arrest them. So later on, they release 3 of them, and 3 of them still in jail. But what happened to the Palestinians whom they were suspected? They did not meet them, they did not investigate them, and they did not arrest them. They are not there. And no one claimed responsibility of the disappearance of the 3 young Israeli settlers. So they went to their houses and they demolished it. What kind of law? They were not in court. So only they were suspected. But those whom they are suspected from the Israeli side, and those whom they admit that they are responsible of kidnapping the young Palestinian child and burning him while he was alive, they did not destroy their houses. They admit. This is show how the Palestinians are suffering under the Israeli apartheid regime. This is show how we are, as Palestinians, our suffering in the Holy Land, in the Terra Santa, is the continuous of suffering of Jesus Christ on the same land. Unfortunately, it's the continuous. And it's a shame that the international community is allowing this to go on till now. You can do a lot for putting an end for the last colonization in the recent history. You can do a lot. Europe is the main partner of commerce with Israel. Only tell the Israelis, we are your neighbors, we are your friends, but we want you to respect our values and our principles. We want you to respect the international law and the UN resolutions. They never respect any UN resolution, and they never respect the international law because they depend on their power, whom they have the number 5 military power in the world, and they have nuclear weapons. In the time, we the Palestinians, we don't have military, we don't have weapons, we have police, and the Israelis, they know our police, how many guns they have, only very, very simple guns, how many guns they have, and every police how many bullets he had, because they control all intraders to Palestine. So they know everything. And so the Israelis, they are trying to show that they are victims of the aggression from the Palestinian side. It's a misleading opinion in the international community, and we hope that the international community realizing that this is a falsehood accusing for the Palestinians. Because there is no terrorism more than the occupation itself. We are victims of state terrorism. And people under occupation, they have the right to resist, according to the UN Constitution, according to the UN resolutions. We have the right to resist the Israeli occupation by all means, including armed struggle. But we Palestinians, we choose not to use armed struggle. We choose to face and to resist the Israeli occupation by peaceful and popular resistance. We, as a Palestinian leadership, as a Palestinian government, we choose not to use violence. But we are facing a state terrorism against our people, innocent people, who most of them, they are refugees living in houses which is not suitable for human beings, because they are refugees for more than 60 years. And they are still holding the keys of their houses on the hope that they will go back to their properties one day. As the international community have a solution for all refugee problems except the Palestinian one. So, my dear friends, before 3 days, the Prime Minister of Israel, he had a press conference. It is not in a closed room. And he said in his closed conference, I will never allow a state sovereign for Palestine to be. I will never allow. This reflects the policy of the government of Israel. And I want to tell you that the coalition of the government of Israel now, there is political parties in this coalition, they are against the state of Palestine. Most of the members of the Likud party, headed by Netanyahu, the prime minister, they are against the state of Palestine. So to have our independence and to have our self-determination, we still need a permission from the occupied power. It's not fair. We need and we deserve to be free and to exercise our rights as a nation and as a people. There is no people live in Palestine before us. We are the indigenous people of Palestine. We received in our history 14 invasions, 14 occupations, and all occupations left one by one, because one come and throw the other one, the before one, throw him out. But we, the Palestinians, we remain in Palestine because it's ours. And I want to tell you, my dear friends, not to misunderstand me. We, the Palestinians, we don't have any problem with the Jewish people. We don't have any kind of problem. We have a big problem with the occupation. It happened that the religious of this occupation is Judaism. If this occupation is Christians, we will be against this. If they are Muslims, we will be against this. Because we are not against religion, we are against occupation. My dear friends, as you know, in the last days, the Israelis, they bombarded Gaza, which is the most populated area in the world, and we have around 200 Palestinians were killed. And the Palestinians, they retaliate of the Israeli bombarding by Kuwaitas. It's a handmade rockets. None of the Israelis were injured. None of them were injured. So we have 200 were killed and we have more than 800 injured, and we have more than 500 houses destroyed, and European hospitals were also bombarded from the Israeli air forces. So we ask the international community for protection for our people. While we don't have a military, we are not planning to have a military because we don't want to spend our money for weapons and for military. We want to spend our money for rebuilding Palestine, which was destroyed by the Israeli occupation. We want to spend our money for building hospitals and schools for our people, to keep the level of our people, whom they are suffering a lot in spite of the difficulties that they are facing. To keep this level, the highest level of education in our region, one of the highest in the world, to keep it, we need a lot of work from our people. We are qualified to govern ourselves, and we need a chance, only we need a chance. So we are giving our hand to the international community, to everyone who is supporting peace and justice, to bring peace and justice to Palestine, where there is no peace and there is no justice because of the Israeli occupation. So the Israelis, some governments, they say that the Israelis have the right to defend themselves. I want to ask you, from whom they defend themselves? From whom? We don't have military. And if there is someone who have the right to defend himself, this right must not be only for the Israelis, must be for the Israelis as well as for the Palestinians. We don't have the right, but they have the right. Is it fair? Is it fair to keep Israel the only country above the law? The only country above the law. I am living here in Europe, and I see when there is a violation for the human rights in any place, they make a big deal about this, and they have the right to make a big deal. But when it comes to Israel, unfortunately, they don't do anything, except a condemnation on a paper. It's not enough. And we don't want this kind of condemnation, because if we collect the condemnation, we need a camion to put it. But it did nothing, because it did not stop the Israeli violation of our rights. It did not stop the Israeli settlements in our territory. It did not stop the Israeli killing of our people. Imagine that our parliament were not able to have a meeting. Can you imagine? We have a parliament who was elected. We were not able to have a meeting for our parliament. We used to have in a video conference. In a video conference. We are in the 21st century because our parliament members, they were not allowed to come to the parliament from the Israeli side. Even for football, our players, they are not allowed to come. So it's a responsibility for all of us. It's a responsibility for you as part of the international community to help the Palestinians to have their freedom and to have their rights. And also to stop using the language which send a wrong message to the Israeli leadership. When you say that they have the right to defend themselves, this means that your policy, the Israelis, are accepted from us. Instead of telling them that we cannot continue like this, you are violating the international law, you are violating our principles. Instead of this, you are giving them an excuse. So there is a responsibility from the international community. Those innocent people whom they were killed in Gaza, it is not the responsibility of Israel alone. It's the responsibility of the international community, whom they did not take measures to stop this aggression against our people and to stop this terrorism, state terrorism against our people. Enough is enough. We don't want blood. We don't want victims. We need a normal life. Give us a chance. Otherwise, you are pushing the Palestinians to use violence, defending themselves. Please, we don't want. Please don't push us to do this, because we don't want. We believe deeply in peace ways, and we want to use peace ways till we got our independence and our sovereignty. In Palestine, we have the life of human beings is it's sagrado, holy, and the dignity of human beings and the freedom of human beings. Our life and our dignity and our freedom is not there, unfortunately, because of the Israeli occupation. We are carrying the message of Jesus Christ from his home, the Holy Land, to the whole world. And we are struggling for the values of Jesus Christ. We need you to stand with us to put an end for the last occupation and for this apartheid regime, to help the Israeli people from their government. They need to be helped from their government, because they cannot be part of our region while they are confiscating our rights and while they are violating our rights. We want them to be part of our region, but this need to put an end for the occupation. Occupation is not allowed to continue, and we will keep resisting the occupation. We will keep resisting the occupation. We have the right to do so. You here in Europe, you resist the Nazi occupation, and in that time you have the right to do so. And we are resisting the Israeli occupation, whom they have, unfortunately, the same mentality, because they, as Hitler in the past, they are super, they are different, they are the same, unfortunately the same. So we need the international community to stand and to raise the voice loudly for putting an end for the Israeli occupation and for giving the Palestinians their right to have their independent, democratic, and sovereign state side by side with the state of Israel. Without settlements, without wall, and without checkpoints, where we are free and we are equal with all people on earth. So, my dear friends, I want to finish, because there is a lot of people waiting to speak. I want to finish by saying that our objective is only peace, and this is the message of our Lord Jesus Christ. Peace only, and we need your help to achieve peace. 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ carried his message from our home to the whole world. The essence of the message of Jesus Christ is justice, peace, and love. Unfortunately, in Palestine, the land of Jesus Christ, there is no justice, there is no peace, and there is no love. We need you to help us to have justice, peace, and love in Palestine, as well as in all countries all over the world, including our neighbors, the Israelis. We never think to exclude them from such a good thing for humanity and for the future, because we did not choose them as our neighbors. They are our neighbors, and we are their neighbors. We have to find a way how to live together, how not to violate the rights of each other, and how to respect each other. From our side, we are ready to do so. And unfortunately, they are not ready to do so, because they still receive support from strong and power in the world, and also they have a military power where they were able to defeat the all Arab military forces. And those Palestinians, poor Palestinians, whom they have to face this military, which is number 5 in the Holy World. We don't want anyone of the Israelis to be killed. We don't want anyone from the Palestinians to be killed, and we want all of them to have a normal life and to enjoy life in Palestine, where there is Israel and there is Palestine alike. I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity, hoping that peace will prevail and hoping that we will witness an end for the Israeli occupation, to see a free Palestine, where all of you are invited to come to Palestine and to enjoy visiting the Holy Land, which is a nice area. It will be part of the paradise if there is no conflict and if there is no wall and if there is no occupation. Thank you very much. Wishing you all the best in this afternoon.